So last year had a lot of problems getting this Belarus to start. A lot of extended cranking, and if it would sit more than a couple days, same story. So I started to wonder, well, what's up with that? Obviously critters running around. And I got to thinking, wow, must be a squirrel or something running on the roof. Yep. Any rate, yesterday I had the battery charger on here for all afternoon. These batteries are now unbelievably 7 years old, so hopefully they still work. Very heavy to lift. I mean, battery box is at chest height, and these are very large, heavy 6-volt batteries. At any rate, I'm kind of wondering if there's some kind of leak in the fuel system and it loses its prime. So what I was going to do here is we're going to take a look at a few things. Boy, is that even accessible. One of these is, I think that is the fill check for the governor. So there's one thought that the governor is sticking. So when you're trying to start it, it was last shut off, so now it's stuck in the off position and doesn't flow any water, or flow any fuel or on there. And it doesn't look like that's been looked at in a while. Primer pump is, let me stick this lamp down here so I can point. So this is the primer pump. And I believe this guy over here is the bleed screw that you would loosen when you're pumping it to make sure that there's fuel getting, into the injector pump. According to some other things I've read, if there's no fuel there, you need to check up here. This is the filter, fuel filter, so it's coming from the tank into the fuel filter. Boy, this hose is, man, I don't know I think these are plastic. They're stiff and hard as rocks. Is that leaking down there? I don't know. This tractor doesn't get used a lot, so there's always something with it seems like. Okay, but yeah, one thing I'd noticed with this primer pump here is it's rather floppy loose here, and you can like pump it up and down, and there's really no much resistance, very little. I don't know if that's normal, but I'm going to crack this and pump that, see if fuel comes up. Earlier I actually unscrewed this because I was curious to see if there was fuel at the bottom of it, and there is, and it would ooze out. So that kind of tells me that there is fuel coming from that hose there, which I think that one goes off to the tank. So I don't, yeah, that one there. I'm not even, well, okay. So it goes from the tank, goes to this the primer pump here, and then it goes out of there up to that one, I guess. Almost need a tripod here so I got one hand on the camera and one hand to do things with. Let me get a rag and we're gonna wipe that off before I do anything. Okay, wipe this off. I don't think this bolt's ever been loose. Supposedly, my late dad got water in the fuel on this thing one winter with the snowblower, and I would have thought that he would have had to prime it. Well, that doesn't want to come loose, does it? Yeah, it's my work lamp here that's flickering on occasion. So there we go. This doesn't seem like, I mean, it's got dirt in here and paint. What do we got here? I mean, I looked at the manuals on here, but they're always the most. Okay, there's fuel there. Let me set that down on the rag here. Unscrew this. Does fuel come up out of the hole? It's building up pressure now. And there's fuel there. I don't think that's normal. Huh? Woofda, now it's all, yeah. I'm guessing that's not normal. When you pull it up, why is there fuel oozing all over the place on this floppy pump primer? And it doesn't come out. There it does. Okay. Well, there it was coming out of there. So I'd say there's fuel here. Tighten that up. I do have a new Bosch primer bulb that I'm going to put on here, so maybe I won't tighten this too tight right now. But then the other thought is the governor out of oil, and I believe the fill checker is here. I mean, everything that's supposed to be checked, they put this white paint on things. So I watched some other videos where people have had this this cover off to look in here because the governor is sticking, and I thought, well, how hard is that to take off? Well, it doesn't look that easy to do in the tractor, and I really don't want to take this off, the whole injector pump. I don't want to do that. You got to take a lot of stuff apart, and then there's some timing concerns too with the gears, and I don't want to go there if I don't have to. If I had to take this cover off, is it even doable? The problem is getting at it, because the fuel filter thing's here, and then this fuel fitting is here to get at there's a bolt back there. It's got four bolts in the corners. I'm assuming a gasket, and I don't know how hard that would be to get off, and it's definitely not something I would do on camera. And this lamp is getting dim here. I don't know, it's done this before, but not recently. This is not a high-end lamp, so we'll see. Get this off if there's any oil in here. Yeah, that hasn't been off for a long time. I should go get a socket wrench so I don't scarf up this bolt. It's not scarfed up now, it's really tight. I got a feeling it's never been checked. Well, bear with me, I'm going to go get a socket and have a go at it again. So, I got a socket here. Let's see if I can get this to crack. There we go, that wasn't bad. Not bad, but a little too much for an 8-inch adjustable wrench. God, I hate all this paint. Whatever kind of paint was used on this is just like, it seems like really old house paint in a way, because it's so brittle and it's always chipping off of stuff like this. And I really don't want having any paint chips to fall down in there. Let's see, make sure there isn't any loose ones. Here, all the chunk, look at that, there's paint chips falling everywhere here. We got a lot of barn swallows and stuff around here. Okay, I should read the manual to find out how much oil is supposed to be in there. If it's supposed to be oil level up to the hole, it definitely is not. One of these sets there. I don't see any oil down in there, and I should go read the manual. At least it doesn't look rusty down there. read the manual to find out. I mean, usually on fill holes like this, you want oil visible at least, you know, at the bottom of the hole. From my earlier reading, I think this just regular motor oil goes in there, nothing magical. All right. Yeah, so maybe it's not losing prime. This pump is definitely, I doubt that's supposed to be making such a mess. And maybe all it is the governor is low on oil and it's sticking. And if I get some oil in there, maybe it won't do that. So we'll see if I can even get it started. I mean, last year it didn't want to start, and I've had a couple occasions where when it did start, it kind of raced, and that kind of also points to the rack sticking. You know, if it would go to an extreme speed because the governor did something, and you know what I mean. It just, things aren't moving smoothly in there. If adding oil to it, getting it going isn't working, I'll have to look at getting this cover off to inspect it in there, or if the rack needs to be, you know, pried on with something. Is someone up here? Oh yeah, it's the neighbor that comes up and walks his dog. Okay, I'm gonna go find out how much oil goes in there. I got a bunch of manuals for this tractor, and it's usually difficult to find what you're looking for in them, and you end up using all of them, including the parts books. And I believe this is what I'm looking for here. Is the oil here. So we were just looking at this plug 3, so no oil was visible there, which it probably is normal because it says here that's the fill hole, item 3, drain hole on the bottom, and then this is another plug here right behind where the fuel hose and the primer pump are right there. So we need to see if there's oil at the level, I'm assuming level at the bottom of the plug or something. And it does say somewhere in here that it should just be regular, there's some discussion elsewhere in here that just regular motor oil and what you would put in there. So we'll go take a look at that. Well, another case of manuals don't exactly match what I have in front of me. So if you recall what we just looked at, the level checking hole probably is where that casting boss is on the pump body, but there's no plug there, and I don't see anything. And that over there, that's not a plug either, that's just more casting things. I mean, the only thing I see is that right there. I mean, that could be a level checking plug, because there is a drain plug at the bottom, but that level checking plug isn't very high up. It's actually pretty low, and I mean, it begs the question, how does the pump get oil over there? Because this is a separate section with the governor in it, and there's a gasket in between. Yeah, those things over there got a wire on. I mean, even the cover bolts have got wire ties on to prevent them from rattling loose. Yeah, this doesn't have any white paint on it that I can see. I don't know, I might need to do a little more research here. Maybe I can find something online. There's some information out there on these tractors. It's not always easy or useful to find. Yeah, there's definitely no white paint that was splorched onto that. And it's so low that it makes you wonder, there wouldn't be a whole lot of oil that would be at that level. Yeah. Trying to remember where you actually add oil to this, and I keep thinking it was under this cover. It's been a while since I've put oil in here. It's had 2 oil changes in the last some years. Most recently after I did the head gasket, and I got to looking on that, and I can't believe that's 9 years ago. I changed head gasket on here, which was quite the ordeal. And then a couple of years later, had to take part of the top apart again to retorque the gasket, and every time you mess with it, you gotta readjust all the valves, and it's just a big project actually to do that. Hopefully the gasket don't fail again. My dad and his neighbor did the gasket many years ago, and I don't know how many hours it had on it. When I had it, when I was driving it, it failed. But I don't think they ever retorqued it, and they may not have had the torque quite right. They were using a really cheap torque wrench, and I don't know how clean they were about cleaning out the bolt holes for the head and all that. I was doing it like I was doing brain surgery, even though this is a rude old tractor, but I didn't want to go through that head gasket thing again. Okay, I need to find out, is that plug there, is it the level checking hole, or what's the story with it? Yeah, so it might be a bit. At any rate, I did get this Bosch primer pump that was recommended, and here's the number in case anyone wants to look there. This crosses to a couple other numbers. Apparently they're all the same. Yeah, and it's supposed to fit right on here and not leak, supposedly. So obviously this one leaks like whatever when I was pumping it. At any rate, I'll find out about the fill thing. I do want to put this in. I mean, as long as I have it, I'm putting it in, and that leaks, so make sure it all works. But more research needed here.